Hi, this is Lynn Monajan from Monajan's Herbals, and we're going to start trying to do the videos again, only this time they'll be uploaded to YouTube. I've been having some troubles with this, so bear with me, and hopefully we'll get through this one. So, today's December 1st, and we are in the countdown to Yule. Yule is the longest night of the year, and it is the time when the Oak King and the Holly King battle for the leadership. And the Oak King, spoiler alert, will live to be the leadership for the light half of the year. This is also the time of the rebirth of the sun. This year, it's going to be on Tuesday, December 21st. So I was asked by a friend to talk about Yule food because she didn't know what to cook for Yule. She was having some troubles with that. Typically, Thanksgiving, most everybody has turkey. Oftentimes at Easter, people have lamb. Christmas doesn't really have that kind of a tradition. On Christmas night, we always eat the same thing in our family, and what we eat is boiled ham and cabbage. And the only reason we eat that is because it's the favorite of all of my kids. I think that looking at that, what I decided was I wanted to go back to the ancestors. What would the ancestors have eaten during Yule? Now, the wheel of the year on Yule turns to the coldest time of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere, and where the people were looking at their stores of food and starting to ration them to make sure that they had enough food to keep them until they could start harvesting food again, new food again. So they would hoard special treats and save it specifically for Yule, but it wasn't a real big dinner because of the time of the year that it was. If there were hunters, the hunters would go out and look for meat. They would hunt meat for Yule, and they would do it for the whole village as opposed to just their own family. The type of meat that they would have hunted would have been totally dependent upon where they were located and what animals roamed the area. It could have been deer, it could have been elk, it could have been wild boar. It would be totally dependent on what was around to provide that sustenance. The other thing that they would have is root vegetables that have been hardened and put in their root cellars. The soft vegetables, those would have already been eaten, and there would not be any more grown, especially in the colder climes. So with that in mind, I decided that what I was going to do is make a root-based stew. Although, that being said, and I forgot something here, I also wanted to update it. And so mine isn't going to be vegetarian. I am actually going to put ground lamb in it. So I was out hunting ground lamb yesterday and ended up having to go to 2 different grocery stores before I could find it. I'm not going to make it. You see, I'm not in my kitchen. I'm not going to make it tonight because Yule is 20 days away. And so I am just going to show you the different root vegetables, and I'm going to explain how I'm going to make it. And then I will write the recipe down on my Facebook page tomorrow. So if that's something that you want to do, you're more than welcome to join me in my root-based soup. So it is here in North Everett, I was able to find, this is a rutabaga, and this is a hard a pretty hard vegetable, so you're going to have to put some muscle in it to go ahead and cut it. And a turnip. Now, a turnip is actually harder than a rutabaga, so that's it. Now, you know that the turnip is purple on top and white on the bottom. The rutabaga is more of a cream color on the bottom and more of a brown kind of color on the top. I also have a parsnip to put in there, and a leek. Now I'm also going to put carrots and potatoes and garlic in my soup, but I figured you all knew what potatoes and garlic and carrots look like, so I didn't bring them out. Now in this one, as a finishing, I'm also going to put kale in it. Now, they would not have had kale if they didn't have a local grocery store. So so this is an updated version with lamb and kale. I think that this is going to really taste good. I'm really excited about this because I love roasted winter root vegetables. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to chop all of these up. Now, not the kale, but the carrots, the potatoes, the parsnip, the rutabaga, the turnip, and I'm putting mushrooms in mine as well. And you can chop them up and then put them in a roasting pan. And what you're going to do is take about 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons of oil and a little bit of salt. And you're going to toss them so that they're all covered in the oil and the salt. Now I'm also going to put this, you've seen me use this before. This is Shire Savory from the shop. This is my current favorite blend. It smells amazing. It is, it's got white sage and it's got parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme, and a bunch of other stuff in here. And it is amazingly good on vegetables. So I am going to put some of this on the vegetables as well as the salt. Then I'm going to put it in the oven at 425, and I'm going to let it roast for 45 minutes. Now, at the halfway mark, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to stir it up so that it all gets nice and brown and beautiful. While I am doing that, not the stirring, but while the vegetables are roasting, I'm going to start with the base. Now the base is another 3 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 heaping tablespoon of tomato paste. I have to tell you, I hate these recipes that have 1 heaping tablespoon of tomato paste, because what are you going to do with the rest of the tomato paste? But I figured this one out. So when I was canning this fall, I canned a bunch of tomatoes, and I took the ends of the tomatoes because you have to take the skins off. And what I did was I took the ends and I put them in the dehydrator, and this is tomato powder because I dehydrated them and then I put them in a coffee grinder and made powder, and I've used this several times already. You can take a tablespoon of this, and if you're in a hurry making spaghetti sauce and you don't want to let it cook as long to thicken, you put some of this in there and it thickens it up real fast. In this particular thing, we're going to need to add a little bit of water. So we'll have the olive oil, and then we'll have the tomato paste, and then water so that the tomato paste becomes paste. Now, once we've got that going, then you add your onions, and you let the onions cook, and you add your garlic and let the garlic cook, all right? And then you add your tomatoes. And just because I can do this and I'm bragging, I will be using my home canned tomatoes. And then you just let it bring it to a simmer and then lower the heat to the lowest setting. Add the kale. Now, when I put the tomatoes in, and if you use canned tomatoes, you're going to want to put everything in. So the water that they're canned in, as well as the tomatoes. It is at that point, when it's been simmering, then you cut up your kale and you put your kale in there and you let it cook about 5 minutes or so until it wilts. Once it wilts, then you go ahead and you put all of it together. You take the roasted vegetables and you put it in with the tomato-based sauce. Now, I am thinking, and I'll make this decision. This is a little bit of a new recipe for me. So I'll make the decision at the time of putting them all together. But I might put some like Asiago or Parmesan cheese, you know, some of the Italian cheeses. I think the hard cheeses, not necessarily mozzarella, because that gets too stringy. And so I'm going to go ahead and I may do that. Just put a little bit of cheese on that. I am so looking forward to this. Maybe I should make it tonight and then just have it again in 2 weeks. But this is good. Now, any root vegetable or hard squash can go in here. So if you have a butternut squash or a pumpkin that you've been wanting to cook, that'll go in with this as well. That's the beauty of this, is you can put any of the root vegetables that you like. So if you only like carrots and potatoes, that's all you need to put in there is carrots and potatoes. It is very flexible. Now, another thing that is a staple around the Yule holidays are apples. Now, for the past 2 years, I haven't done it because I haven't served any tea. But historically, if you come into the shop between New Year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, instead of having tea as an option to try, I make wassail. And it is, and that tradition came from England, where that was the way that they blessed the apple groves for a good cider harvest for the following year. It is, it's pretty good. I have to tell you, I love the wassail, and I haven't had it for myself yet. And so I'm going to definitely do the wassail for that. I am going to, there's a song that is "Here We Come a Wassailing," and that means going from place to place to give blessings. Now, here I've also heard it, "Here We Come a Caroling," because it was singing as well. And it is, but that's the same song that has been around since probably the 1300s over in England. It is, the word wassail is actually derived from the Anglo-Saxon wes hall, which means to be whole or be of good health. And so I wish that for all of you. Now the wassail, oh, I left it in the kitchen. Let me go get it. I'll be right back. It wouldn't be my video if I didn't leave something in the kitchen and have to go run out and get it. Now, these are the wassail spices, all right? So what's in here is nutmeg and cinnamon and clove and orange. Now, the way that you make the wassail, the way that I make the wassail, is I'll add 2 tablespoons of this to a gallon of apple cider and 2 quarts of cranberry. Now, obviously, that makes a lot of wassail, and you can cut it down considerably. But that's what I use when I'm at the shop. That's how much I make. It is, you can use straight apple cider. You can use any combination. Sometimes I use pomegranate. Sometimes I use cranberry. Um, Sometimes I'll use cranberry cherry. It just whatever strikes me at the time. Now you can also do this with wine, and you can do it with maple syrup. It is if you infuse the maple syrup with this. I mean, this smells amazing. That would be a great Christmas breakfast or Yule breakfast, because it would be just a little bit more special. For dessert, which I probably won't make a dessert for myself, but an apple cranberry crisp or a Yule log, the cake would be kind of a fun thing. The whole point to this holiday is welcoming back the sun. And so if you have a fireplace or a fire pit, this is a good night to go sit near the fire pit. If you don't have those, an oil lamp or a candle will do the same thing. It is going off topic a little bit. This can be a hard time of the year for a lot of people. And I think that there are more people suffering from depression right now than historically happens during this time of year. But, you know, if somebody doesn't have family or their finances are tight, these things all, or if they've lost somebody in their family recently, and this is the first Christmas and Yule without them, it's really hard to get in the mood and to enjoy this time of the year. So please look out for your friends, look out for your family and your neighbors, and also choose something to do every day that reminds you of the season and what you're doing. When my kids were at home, I made a flat felt Christmas tree that was an advent calendar, and I had put little pockets that looked like ornaments on it, and there were 25, so that every day the kids got to choose a Christmas activity for that day. Now we all did it together. So one of the activities was reading the night before Christmas. One was making candy. One was wrapping presents. One was walking around the neighborhood and looking at all the Christmas lights. So they weren't things that were expensive, but they were things to make you stop, slow down, and recognize that there's still good out there, that there is still some happy times. We just have to look for the happy times and quit looking for the unhappy times and the fear. So it looks like this is doing really well with the videoing tonight. So next step is for me to upload it to the to YouTube, and then I'll put a note out on my my Facebook page letting you know it's there. If this is successful, I'll be back next week on Wednesday, and I'm thinking I'm going to probably do a lot about Yule this month. And so maybe we'll make some Christmas or Yule gifts and talk about other traditions. So if there's something that you would like me to talk about, please just let me know, because I'm happy to do that. And thank you for joining me. I am very excited to be back. I missed you all. And so it's getting better. And hopefully we'll be able to do the next new moon, which I believe is December 4th. So be looking for that as well. Thanks so much, and take care of yourself. Thank you.